Many people have found techniques that they like to use that involve working in LAB color mode. The problem is, as soon as you do that, you lose many other abilities. For example, you have to be careful with layers and adjustment layers because eventually you need to switch back to RGB mode to continue working. So that's always been a problem, and once again, this is where smart objects can come to the rescue. So I'm going to take this background layer and convert it to a smart object and then double click to edit the contents. That opens, of course, our separate document, which is the .psb file, just to indicate this is the contents of our smart object. But here's where it gets interesting. I can actually change the mode to LAB color. So now if you go with my standard container and contents analogy, the container is RGB, but the contents are LAB, which is very interesting because that means we can do some interesting things. For example, one of the methods that some people like to do is use this to kind of boost the colors, give it kind of like a pop of color. So I go to the, instead of seeing red, green, blue, I'm seeing lightness A and B. So I go to the A channel and I pull the two ends in. Go to the B channel, pull the two ends in, and that's give it a really nice pop of color. Now, in the past, what I would have done is convert to RGB, done this, and had to finalize this step because when I went back to RGB mode, I would have lost my adjustment layer. But what's really cool about this is this stays here. So I can do another, say, let's just do a curves adjustment layer in lightness and maybe just brighten up just a hair more in the mid-tone, something like that. So here's our original. Now it looks pretty good. So I close and save it, and you'll see it updates within the RGB document. So now I can do other things like filters and continue working, but at any time if I want to access the LAB color information, I just double click on my smart object, and there is my contents where I can look at and edit all the things I've done taking advantage of LAB mode. Now, my intention here wasn't to talk about all the things you can do in LAB mode because there are plenty of tutorials out there that talk about that, but the real point of this is it opens up some interesting possibilities where you can actually contain LAB information within an RGB smart object.